I think SQL is one of the most valuable skills you can learn if you want to work with data. But let's be honest, the hardest part usually isn't writing the SQL, it's remembering your database. Which table stores the customers and which are the orders, and how do these tables connect? Which columns do you actually need? So what if you didn't have to remember any of that? Imagine your manager asks which customers spent the most money. And instead of opening your SQL editor, searching through dozens of tables, trying to remember the right joins, you simply ask the question. The AI figures out where the data lives, writes the SQL, runs it against your database, and explains the answer back to you in plain English. And that's exactly what we're building today. By the end of this video, you'll have your own SQL agent running in Python. Let's build it. Hi, I'm Charlene and welcome to Learn Data Easy. This is a series where we make AI, data and cloud simple, without jargon and without stress. Over the last few episodes, we've built AI agents that can search documents and use tools and retrieve information. And today, we're giving our AI a completely different tool, a database. And once you understand this pattern, you'll start seeing it behind many AI-powered analytics tools. Now, I am starting with a brand new Google Colab notebook. If you've been following this series, this setup should feel familiar. Now we are going to install OpenAI library. Then we import a few libraries, OpenAI so we can talk to the GPT, and then SQLite because that's where we'll store our data, and Google Colab Secrets so we can securely access our API key. Earlier in this series, we pasted the API key directly into the notebook because it was the quickest way to get started. And today we're going to do it properly. We've already done it properly in some other videos as well. So I'll store it inside of the Google Colab Secrets instead. You've already seen how to do this. It's safer, it's cleaner, and it's much more closer to what you would expect from a real application. Now, finally, let's build our database. So we have SQLite, and SQLite stores everything into a single file. So there's nothing extra to install or configure, and it's perfect for projects like this. Now, before the AI can answer questions, it needs something to query. So let's build a small database. We'll start with the customers table, nothing complicated. Each customer will have an ID, a name, an email address, a subscription plan, and a sign-up date. Now, the products and the orders tables follow exactly the same idea, so I'm going to speed through those. Perfect! Now our database structure is complete. Now, let's add some sample data. So I'm going to insert the customers first. Then I'm going to speed through the products and orders because it's exactly the same process. I'm keeping the data set small so then it's easier to follow. Now save everything. Okay, at this point, we've built a perfectly normal SQLite database, but here's the problem. So if I ask GPT who spends the most money, it wouldn't have a clue where to begin. And not because it doesn't know SQL, it does. Here's a trick. So GPT already knows SQL, but what it doesn't know is our database. And it doesn't know the tables, it doesn't know the columns, and it doesn't know how they're connected. So before we ask any questions, we need to give it a map. And that's where things start to get really interesting. Okay, so how do we teach GPT about our database? And we give it a map. And this function reads every table and column and turns that information into a simple text description. There's nothing magical happening here. We're just describing the database in a way that GPT can understand. And the nice thing about doing it in this way is that it's automatic. And if we add another table tomorrow, this function automatically picks it up. We don't have to keep updating every time the database changes. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. Perfect. So there's our customers table, products, orders, and all of their columns. Now notice something important. We're not sending the entire database to GPT, only the structure. Because GPT doesn't need every row. It just needs to know where everything lives. And that's our map. Okay. Now, for the fun part, let's build the agent. And don't worry about understanding every single line of code. Instead, focus on the workflow. So basically, we send GPT two things. It's the user's question and the database schema. And that's it. So GPT writes the SQL and we execute it against SQLite. The database returns the results, and then we send those results back to GPT one final time. And then we ask it to explain them to us in plain English. That's the whole agent. Question, SQL, results, answer. 4 simple steps. So, moment of truth. Let's see if it actually works. I'm going to ask a question in plain English, and then let's just watch. And look at that. So it didn't tell which tables to use, and it didn't tell which columns to select. It didn't even tell it how to write the query. It figured that out on its own using the schema that we gave it. Now SQLite executes the query and the results come back, and then the GPT explains them to us in plain English. And that's pretty cool. Although we've just hit our first bug, and honestly I'm glad, because this is what building AI applications actually looks like. Things don't always work perfectly, and we're gonna have to figure this out. So let's take a look and see what's going on. Much better. That's exactly what we wanted. And this is a good reminder that when we're building AI applications, you shouldn't just trust the model. You also need sensible validation around it. Okay, cool. So now we've got a working SQL agent, but answering one question isn't that impressive. The real test is whether it can handle completely different questions without us changing the code. So let's find out. Okay, so it answered one question, but that could just be luck. So let's see what happens when we ask it something completely different. And notice something. I'm not changing the code and I'm not changing the prompt. I'm only changing the question. Everything else stays exactly the same. Go on. Let's see what we come up with. Oh wow, look at that. Completely different SQL. Different joins, different calculations, different output, same agent. But that's the real powerful part. We don't build a new application every time someone asks a different business question. We build one agent and we let the model decide how to answer it. But there's something really important to understand. Just because the AI writes SQL doesn't automatically mean it's correct. And the quality of the answer still depends on two things: And that's the quality of our data. You've probably heard this many times, but also the quality of your question. Now let's look at another example. So in this example, I'm going to ask, what's the best product? It sounds reasonable, but think about it. Best according to who? Best selling, highest revenue, most profitable. The database doesn't actually define what best means. So GPT has to make an assumption. Interesting. So it actually assumed that best meant the query picks the top product by total revenue. So it's basing it off of revenue. And that's a perfectly reasonable interpretation, but it's only one interpretation. Now, if I wanted something different, I should have asked a more precise question. And one of the biggest improvements you can make when working with AI isn't writing better code, it's asking better questions. Now, let's try something impossible. So let's say we're going to ask it, what's the average customer satisfaction score? Now, take a second and think about that. Should the AI answer, or should it admit that it doesn't know? Perfect. It actually tells us it cannot answer the question. And honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of the whole project. I'd much rather an AI says, I don't know, than confidently giving me an answer that isn't true. Knowing your limits is a sign of a good AI system. Let's try one last thing. Let's delete all of the customers. Go on, let's try it. Nope, that's exactly what we wanted. So earlier we restricted the agent to read only SQL. So even when I ask it to delete the data, it refuses. Never rely on the model alone. Always build safety into your application as well. So what did we actually build today? Because it wasn't just a Python script. And I think that's the most important takeaway from this episode. We didn't teach GPT our data. We didn't fine-tune a model. We simply gave it a map and a tool. And that's the pattern behind almost every AI agent you're building from now on. Different tools, same pattern. And today, that tool was a database. Now, before you go, I've got a question for you. If you could connect this SQL agent to any database, your work, a personal project, anything at all, what would you connect it to? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see what you're building. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.